Aloha, friends. I am very happy to welcome back my best bud, my brother, Bob, Bob Belcher from the big island of Hawaii. Welcome, welcome back, Bob.
Aloha, my friend. Thank you so much for having me on your channel.
Always a
I
delight.
thank you. I as we've talked in other interviews, and I'm not the only one who ever says this kind of thing, but everything is about energy.
Right.
And you can look at even the most physical thing, including this cup, and it's still about energy because you get into atoms and so on and get further down, and it's just energy. And as we know, matter is just organized energy. I didn't make that up. I asked the question to a physicist friend of mine. He went, "Yeah, that's true." So I wanted to talk about an experience that I had the other day. I I fell into a YouTube pit.
Gee, what's that? I can't relate
What's
to
that?
that at all.
I
Uh,
I don't know what happened. It's like usually I'll look at something and I'll skip 90% of it and go, oh, that looks interesting. And I just got into this thing where I was watching these shorts, which are usually the ones I pick are interesting. But I seem to have clicked into the stupid channel, and I started coming across all this really. Well, I don't want to get too specific here, but basically a whole lot of dumb people doing really dumb things, saying dumb things, and promoting dumb things.
oh, politicians?
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but what I've
I
noticed
will.
is how fiercely people will defend their ignorance while they're promoting the ideas that somebody else has espoused that they don't really actually understand. And but they will promote that and defend their ignorance and what passes for knowledge, which is scary. And so what happened is, I mean, I fell in this thing one after another. I mean, I was there for, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes. It just like I was just hooked into this. And then I kind of said to myself, well, what am I watching this for?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. This is nuts. So I just put my phone down. Now, the funny thing here is that I went back to pick up my phone because I wanted to use the camera, and the screen was black. I couldn't access the phone. I couldn't turn it on. I couldn't turn it off. I couldn't do anything with it. And the story with that is I finally put it in the desk drawer and left it there for 4 days and just let the battery drain out, charged it up again, and it came back. But it gave me a pattern interrupt where I got away from falling into that kind of thing. So let me get back to the original day though. So I put my phone down, I pick it up, it's got this black screen, and I was aware that I was feeling agitated. I was angry. You know me, we've been friends for what, 25 years? That's really not a state that I walk around in. It just isn't my normal state of being. And to give you an example, so you really appreciate how cranky I was, the big screen was on in the living room and YouTube happened to be up. Even a clip of Labrador puppies wouldn't make me smile. Now you know how serious that is.
That's
Because
very serious.
yes, because I'm a devout Labrador fan. In my world, and you can say this about any breed you enjoy. I'm just saying for me, I'm lab centric, so there's Labradors and the rest are dogs. I just that's just me. And so I'm sitting here and I'm aware of how upset I am. And I went, what in the world is going on? And then it was like I should have had a V8 kind of moment. And I realized that I had absorbed all this anger and stupidity that I had been watching on YouTube. I had taken that on as an energy, and I was reacting to it, and it it was something that just really was taking me over, and I couldn't seem to get out of it. I mean, I was stuck in this energy band, and I could see what was happening. I understood the mechanics of it, and I was having a real WTF moment.
Sure.
And that's why I wanted to talk about the power of gratitude. You know, the situation we lived in for a lot of years. It was very crude and primitive. It was very uncomfortable. And that's a polite way of saying it. And I was sitting in that living room and I started looking at this beautiful home that we have now. And I was looking at the awesome ceiling, the woodwork. I was looking at the cabinetry, and I started being so grateful that we had a real house to live in, that we had heat and running water, and that we weren't living in the circumstances we were living in for so many years. And being so grateful to be married to such a wonderful woman. And I just picked up my energy level and picked it up and picked it up and picked it up. And all I did was think about what I was grateful for. I want your viewers, when you are feeling in a funk, look at what you be grateful for. Be grateful for your clothes. Be grateful for your health. Be grateful for your life. Be grateful for your surroundings. Even be grateful for your challenges, because as a spiritual being, that's what you're here to learn anyway. Be grateful. Gratitude. It is this amazing, amazing shift change to change our state of mind from one of anger and upset into one of joy and happiness. And it's something that's so important. So I made some notes, which I will share with you. Because we talked before about forgiveness. You can't hold resentment and gratitude at the same time, any more than you can have light and dark occupying the same space. There's a lot of us who have gone through very upsetting experiences, probably most of us. And you and I talked about the power of forgiveness and how that brought me out of a deep space of depression that I had been in. And so what I wrote down was this, because I thought I would share this. Forgiveness is a pathway to gratitude. Gratitude is a pathway to happiness. Happiness is a pathway to love. Love is a pathway to God. Let love be your guide. It is indeed all about love.
That's
And
simply
that's
beautiful and beautifully simple.
so the other thing that came to me was joy and sorrow, laughter and tears are two sides of the same heart. They both come from love.
Let's have you repeat that one again to make sure we've caught that, please, bud.
Joy and sorrow, laughter and tears are two sides of the same heart. They both come from love.
It reminds me of that song, and I encourage my viewers to look at the channel called The Kiffness, Kiffness. I guess
Hmm.
I'm out of popular trends. I'm out of it, whatever's going on. But I only recently discovered him, and he has a song with this little kid, might be in Africa or something. Thank you for joy. Thank you for pain. Thank you for sunshine. Thank you for rain. It's a
Hmm.
beautiful day. I highly encourage you to search The Kiffness. It's a beautiful day after this video to kind of carry in your pocket for the rest of the day.
You know, it's they say that pain comes from unmet expectations. Besides, when I kicked my foot on the bed the other day, of course, I expected to be on the floor, not on the bedstand. But um, you know, we're going to have disappointments in life. It's going to happen, and you you may recall back when we were working together, I said, everybody makes mistakes. The mark of the professional is how you handle it. Everybody has sorrow and trauma. The ability to find forgiveness and joy and gratitude during those times is central to one's sanity. you know the situation that we were living in. It was very difficult, but I was grateful that we had a roof. I was grateful that we had walls, at least on the outside of the house. You know, I was
There
grateful
were
that
no
what we had.
walls on the inside.
Well, we had studs and plastic sheets over them.
Yeah.
So wall is kind of a loose term when you can walk through them.
For those
um,
that might not catch on yet, Bob and I, our friendship goes back many, many incarnations.
at a
I
minimum,
was gonna say
yes.
years, but it's obvious. And Bob is a spiritual big brother to me and a best friend ever. And there was a time, as in most of our lives, when remember that really, really rough, hard time, those lean times where you had to make do and do without, and it was hard. So um, I would say somewhere along the line of our friendship, um, we we both were going through times like that, but in particular, Bob and his wife were really struggling at that phase of their life, and they have come through it now in glorious victory. The house that Bob and Val are living in now was more or less a plywood
It
idea,
was a shell. It was
a
a shell.
shell. Yeah. And
We had
now it's finally complete and beautiful.
yeah,
And so he's
yeah,
expressing his gratitude for that, and and how easy it is to feel that gratitude in a case like that as well. Um,
yeah. We had no heat and we had walking water. Those were the containers I could carry from the truck into the house
right,
because there was no running water.
right.
And uh,
And
it
there's
was difficult.
probably a few of our viewers watching now. If you're living off grid, if you're living far out, first of all, I honor and commend you. I revere what you are doing, and you are on the right track. But don't ever tell me it's easy, because it's not. I've
Well,
I've had spells of it myself. It's not easy. So
yeah, we're living off grid now, but we also have a solar system on the house and have plenty of electricity. And like everybody who lives up here, we have a 10,000 gallon catchment tank in the yard to catch water off our roof
yeah,
and run it through a series of filters because there's no water pumped up here.
yeah.
You either have a catchment tank or you have walking water.
So bringing it back to the pinpoint of gratitude, as I mentioned before, it's very easy to look around at what splendor your existence is enjoying now, and to feel thankful and to feel gratitude for that. But, and here's the key, as hard as it can be sometimes, and just get over that, it is crucial to be in a state of perpetual thankfulness,
Yes,
ceaseless gratitude, not just for the gifts that we've been given, the blessings we've received, okay, not just that, but to be what I call preemptively thankful. Preemptive
yes,
thankfulness is a blessings magnet. It will align you with the divine flow in a way that completely clears all your channels to receive abundantly everything you need when you need it, and often before you realize you do. Preemptive thankfulness. Be thankful now for blessings yet to come. It's a blessings
I
magnet.
I got turned on to a phrase many years ago. Is the attitude of gratitude.
Sure.
And even when we were running through our difficult times, which lasted many years, this wasn't a 6 month stint. It was 11 years of living like that. It was really, really difficult. But you know something? We had a roof, and there's people that don't.
Right.
We had food, and there's people that don't have food. We had love in our lives, and there's people who are alone and lonely.
You
And
have the Bible verse, I cried when I had no shoes till I met a man who had no feet.
precisely. And so Um, you know, I would recommend your viewers to get into the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's a man who teaches a practical application of how to um, access and make use of the quantum field. And I wish that I had been aware of his work years ago, because it would have made a big difference. But
Could you spell his name for us, please, or write it down and show us for those
no.
interested? Okay.
Let me see. I got a book of this somewhere. Let's see. Hold on for a second.
And while Bob is looking for the book, I'm going to share with our wonderful viewers a quote by Meister Eckhart, a Christian mystic. His quote is, "If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough."
Okay. This is the
Okay.
book.
Okay.
This is the author.
All right. And you're recommending this author and his work precisely why? Something about how to.
Because what he does, and if you go on the Gaia TV channel,
Okay.
and you got to spend the money for Gaia events, so you get the premium one, there's a workshop on there that would cost you way more to attend than it costs to buy that channel for a year. And he will teach you the science behind how to use your spiritual energy for manifestation. He breaks it down scientifically. Then he gives you practical exercises on how to make things work, how to bring things to you, how to align, how to create the synchronicities.
Okay. So for those that are interested, Dr. Joe Dispenza,
Correct.
and we're recommending him as a sideline, and
Yes, as
maybe
a
we'll do more on
sideline.
that.
And his book
Sticking.
is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself,
Okay.
How to Lose Your Mind and Create a New One.
Okay.
And one of the things, if you think about it, we create, because we're spiritual beings, we're tapped into the quantum field, whether we're aware of it or not. We create with our thoughts. What we focus on, we create. If you have the same kind of thoughts every day, guess what? You're going to create the same kind of life.
Sure.
So if you want to change your life, you have to change your thoughts. You have to change, and you have to take responsibility. And you and I have talked about it before, and I've said the easiest thing and the most difficult thing to do is to control our own mind.
Yeah.
Because minds go off and go and think about this and that and whatever. You have to find a way to take control of that thought process and focus it and make it do what you want it to do. It's your mind.
Yeah.
And as a very famous rock star once said, if you don't program your own mind, somebody else will do it for you. And it's your responsibility to program your mind. It's your mind. So take responsibility for it. And
Well, I think
it'll be a lot easier.
another very famous musician once said, "Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds."
Exactly.
So keeping it centered on gratitude, which I happen to prefer the word thankfulness, because to me that's gratitude engaged to a recipient. But either
Well,
way, it's a frequency. And
yeah, it's exactly that. Yes, totally.
when you say we are responsible for the reality that we create, I'm just tweaking words here. I would say we are responsible for the experience of reality that we create. But I think that it's going back to what you said in the very beginning of the video. Everything is energy, frequency, and vibration, credit to Tesla. So yes, choose your thoughts, definitely, but do so from a foundation of consciously selecting what frequency you wish to resonate. And then those thoughts belong to that frequency. If you are
Correct.
at a frequency of thankfulness, gratitude, appreciation, you're not going to have thoughts that are alien to that frequency popping in and out much. They might be a little blip that passes, in quick interference or something. But I think that it does go back to frequency. choose what frequency you
Little-
want to resonate out to the universe today, so
Yeah,
that that's what will be reflected back to you, manifested as experiences, perceptions, encounters,
all of that.
all of it, whatever matches
All
that frequency. Because as we've said many times on this channel before, there's a recent video called the universe reflects. Whatever you send out, the universe is just a short order cook that does nothing but say, got it, coming right up. It
right.
doesn't
And
judge
and
you, it
the
doesn't protect
universe does
you.
not have the universe does not have discrimination. It
Exactly.
does it doesn't give a judgment. It doesn't say, oh, that's not a bad thought. Don't do that. It
Right.
just it's
The
just what it is.
universe
It's like,
is not going to modify what you send out for your own good. It's just going to show you what you're vibing.
yeah, what came up for me was a thought of having a ball and throwing one of those nets that bounces back to you. You can either catch that ball or it can hit you in the head, but it's just reflecting back to you what you threw out, and I when I look at our home and I look at the life that we live now, I am deeply appreciative and deeply grateful. And when I think about it, I mentally thank all the people that I know directly or indirectly were there in some way or another to help us create this home, including the people who built it, which I did a bunch myself, but other people did a lot more.
Yeah.
And um, you know, I have even given thanks for some of the injuries that I've had, which have been extremely unpleasant, because as you know, I really hate pain because it hurts so much. And gotcha. You can
That's a
say that the other
Bobism, by
way.
the way.
Yeah, yeah. You can say that the other way, it's I hate getting hurt, it's painful. Um
And sometimes it leads to death, which can be fatal.
they well, I've had some friends who have been fatally killed doing stupid things.
Right.
Uh, Yeah,
You know,
but
let
the
me point something out, Bud. We've mentioned that the point that being in a frequency, and always, of course, genuinely
oh
thankful.
yeah,
When you resonate that frequency, you are
right there.
a beacon. You are sending that energy out into the universe. It's going to affect everyone that is within its reach, which could be thousands or hundreds of thousands, depending where you live. And not only that, but I call it a blessings magnet. Of course, blessings, what I really mean is alignment with the divine
Yes.
flow. And you can interpret that if you want as blessings. Definitely a more Christian centric view would be blessings, but also it's what happens when you align with the divine flow of creation. So you will, the more thankful you are, the more attuned and aligned you are with the divine providence. And
Right.
and so we call it a blessings magnet. But there's a flip side, and I'm the guy to tell you about it. Bitching, moaning, and whining and complaining is the flip side of this spiritual law. And if that is the frequency that you are choosing to wear that day, choosing to send out into the universe, you will also get its like fruits.
Well,
It's a
that's
crap
why I said
magnet.
that's why I said it doesn't discern. There's no discernment.
Yeah,
It just you throw it out, it comes back,
there you go. It's just you can
And if
think of a boomerang or a frisbee or a ball against the brick wall. Whatever you send out, the universe says, "Oh yeah, that." Boom, and it gives it back to you in a numerous variety of ways that align with or very closely to the frequency and essence of what it is you are vibrating. So look, we all have bad days. You may be shocked by this, but there are days when I have irritable owl syndrome, and you might even say I'm crusty. So, but on those days, you feel like Ralph Cramden. You, so many things happen back to you, if you can think of it that way. They happen back to you. Um, I have observed being in such a foul mood that my computer won't function properly. This is a fact. because the
I
brain
understand.
waves,
I understand that, by the way.
yeah,
There are stories to tell about that kind of
yeah,
thing.
your brain waves are affecting the electronics. It's true.
Well,
It
because
really is you in some
your
cases.
brain waves are electrical waves. They're energy
Yes.
waves.
Yeah. And what
Absolutely.
happens if I can't successfully just shift frequencies, I have to just tap out for a minute, go take a walk, catch up to myself, get centered, get clean, and come back. And all of a sudden, the world is washed anew. But the world was just the world. I was the one shifting frequencies. You might say,
Right.
like a radio station. You might
Precisely.
you might tune into a frequency where the music is, like incessant dance hall music. This is going to drive you insane. And if you want to stay tuned to that frequency, that's what's going to saturate you. And that's what you're going to start, like a tuning fork. You mentioned about watching the low IQ, emotionally manipulative videos on YouTube. And then all of a sudden that program is looping in you. You're vibing that. But
Exactly.
if you change, if you're able to change, if you can't, just tap out for a while. Be gentle with yourself. Just tap out, take a walk. It's a really good fix. Come back and face it again when you're ready. But if
Yeah,
you change to a higher frequency, all of a sudden you might be, tuned to a channel that's 528 megahertz background music, or 432, or some angelic music that completely changes the frequency that you are resonating to and resonating outward. So you're right. It's all energy, vibration,
all
frequency.
energy. So here's like the bottom line on it. Energetically, we live in a world of abundance. Central source energy is one of love and abundance. If you're focusing your mind on things that aren't bringing you happiness, you could be living in an abundance of lack, an abundance of unhappiness, an abundance of anger. It's still abundance. If you want to change those experiences, change what you're broadcasting out, because what you accept in, because as I just experienced, what you impress, you express. And
Say that again, bud. I like it.
what you impress, you express.
Okay, what you
What you
absorb,
impress on
you
the mind,
resonate.
yeah, what you impress on the mind, you express in your energy, in your body, in your feelings. And so if you want to change your experience of life, change what you expose yourself to, change how you think of life, and watch what happens, because your life will change. That right person will come to you and say, oh, how about this? The phone will ring and the right person will call you. You'll have a thought to go do one thing instead of the other thing. And, you know, yeah, there's a lot of stories that I won't tell, but there's,
Let me throw this out there as an example that most of us have experienced ourselves. How many of us have had numerous incidents or experiences where suddenly you thought of someone? They came to your psychic space, and the next thing you know, they call you on the phone, or you bump into them around the corner.
that happened just this morning.
Bud, I was walking the other day, coming back from the market, and I was walking, and all of a sudden, as I began to turn this corner, I saw this guy I know, and his name is Juan, in case he's watching, because he might be. And all of a sudden, I saw him in my mind's eye, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to see him." He didn't live anywhere near where I was. I walked another 5 minutes, and all of a sudden, from my right side, I hear, "Hey, brother Owl." And I look over, and it's Juan. And I said, "I know you'll believe me when I tell you that I saw that I was going to see you. What are you doing here?" "Oh, I just rented this new place here a couple days ago, just moved in." And I saw him, and I knew I'm going to see him. And these are the kind of things that come with attunement. This is the sensitivity things. And so whatever you're vibrating is going to affect you in many, many ways in your life. But I think that I was probably vibrating at a good frequency at that time so that I was able to see that. Had I been distracted with, oh, what's going on with this, with the economy and these politicians and there's infinity of that, you have to control how much of that you take in, and the less the better.
Well, yeah, I'll read the news, but I don't watch it anymore. I know what's going on, but watching it is very, very bad for the
Yeah,
psyche. I'll
right.
give you an example of what you were talking about, though, because when I first had the experience of, I was 16 years old, and I was dating this very nice young gal who was 15, and her name was Debbie, and I thought, oh, I'm going to give Debbie a call and see if she wants to go out Friday night. I pick up the phone and there was no dial tone. Debbie was on the other line. She was calling me. So I picked it up before it even rang, and we both laughed about it. And it's just
I've actually
that was
experienced that too, but it was just two calls crashing in the night, more so than thinking. But yeah, so the power of your mind and what your thoughts are, it creates a hypersensitivity, which is our natural ability.
it's a natural. No, and now think of it in terms of resonance also. What if your mind is at a certain frequency, it's resonating or vibrating at that frequency. And what happens is it will attract other things at that same frequency. So it attracts the phone call, the right person, the right opportunity, the right this, the right that, whatever that is, or the wrong that. If you're thinking whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're focusing, what I've become very careful about is what I input into my mind. I follow current events enough to know what's happening, so I'll know when to duck. But I don't get all invested in this drama or that drama, because what's the point?
Yeah.
And what I really look at too is that, oh, this thing happened over here in the world. Okay, does that impact my life? Does that knowledge help me? Does the knowledge of that traumatic thing, that horrible thing, does that actually contribute positively to my life? Or is it setting up an energy frequency that makes me feel, oh my God, I need to be fearful? Because I've said before, the two levers of control are fear and guilt. If somebody can make you afraid or make you feel guilty, they can control you.
Yep.
And the only way you can avoid that is to take control of your own mind.
And it's not being selfish or self-centered or apathetic to say to let's say qualify whether these things are worthy of being absorbed. What am I allowing in? I did a very, very early video, one of the first two or three I did, and it was the 7 sacred questions. I highly recommend that our viewers please go back and view videos that were posted long before you found us, because they are not in any particular order, and they're timeless. But one of the questions was, what am I allowing in? And that is self-care. That's self-care. That's not selfish. So
Right.
it's not apathetic, and
So,
it's not being like an oyster who sticks its head in the sand. As my friend Anuhea once said, she said, "You don't be like an oyster who's sticking your head in the sand." English is their
I can
second
grow
language. I thought
pearls
it was
that
a very
way.
cute mistake.
Um,
So
just a note about selfish. Now, we both know uh, the real definition of selfish is, doing it just for yourself and screw everybody else and that. But I would offer a tweak on the word, on the definition of selfish. What do they tell you when you get on a plane and that little mask drop down?
right,
Put it on your face before you help the person next to you. Why? Because if you're not in a position of your own security with air, you can't help the person next to you.
yeah, it's like they say, fill your cup. that you may help others drink, in so many words. I mean, if your cup is empty, what really can you offer, even though your intention is good? You don't have anything to offer. And as this applies to relationships, and I've gone over this in the video called If You Want to Be Loved, you have to love you unconditionally as you are first.
There was a saying,
Otherwise, you can't truly love another in the verb sense of the word. You can't.
well, you can only love another to your own level of self-acceptance. Because
Okay.
if you accept yourself as who you are,
Yeah.
what are you offering to somebody else?
Yeah.
But back to selfish for a second. As you know, we're both Reiki masters and we both do a lot of work for people. And uh, uh, my wife has an injured shoulder, and it's finally a place where I can work on it. A long story behind that. And I have another friend who's dealing with skin cancer, and another friend who's in the hospital right now with Guillain-Barré syndrome. I mean, it's just crazy stuff going on. And so I've been doing a lot of Reiki work, and I donate around 1,000 hours a year of Reiki. And so Valerie said, "Well, when's the last time you worked on yourself?" I said, "Well, I've been working with a lot of people. It's been a little while since I give myself a session." And she said, "If you don't take care of yourself, you can't be here for the rest of us. So you give yourself a session first, then you worry about the rest of us." What is she saying? Take care of self, because if you can take care of yourself, you can be there for other people. And you can't give and give and give until you're exhausted, because then you're gone and you can't be there to help somebody else. So this is a place where, once again, take responsibility for what you put in your mind. You take responsibility. If you're going to eat gluten-free dairy, but you're going to watch violent movies, you're you're going to say, "Oh, I'm eating all vegetables and I'm all healthy," but you're listening to music that programs your mind with violence. Well, guess what? It's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
not any different. And what you put in here translates to every cell in your body.
Yeah.
As Deepak Chopra says, every cell in the body listens in on the mind. So if you want to have a healthy body, you got to have a healthy mind. If you're going to have a
Yeah.
healthy mind, you got to put healthy stuff in your mind. It's it's
To
it's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. It's a matter of taking responsibility for what you consume,
yeah.
physically, psychologically, spiritually.
Well, to put another spin on it, as they say, you are what you eat. In other words, what you allow yourself to absorb into your being will affect you. You will be affected by it, whether it is physical food you eat or things that you listen to and hear,
Mhm.
videos or media that you watch or read. And this is why I've said many, many times, please get off social media as much as you can, because so much
Oh,
of it is so toxic. I know
so
there are good points about it, but get off of it as much as you possibly can, and uh, take control, take back your sovereignty, take inventory of what you are allowing into your consciousness, because I don't I don't even want to hear I don't want to hear an argument against it. There is an unbelievable battle for our consciousness that is
oh,
happening right now. And the
right, yeah.
prize may be the soul, but it's
Well,
huge and obvious.
I have, yeah, I have comments on that, which I'll save for another time.
Well, go ahead now.
No,
Okay, another episode.
no,
Yeah.
but
So coming to a
I'll
Brother's
tell you,
Owl near you, a future episode
yeah.
of The Battle for Consciousness. So
Well, I'll leave it like this. There is there's a spiritual war that is taking place on the physical plane. The um, game is power. The prize is our free will, and the strategy is to convince us to give it over willingly.
and the
Take that,
currency is fear.
and the currency is fear. The lever is fear and guilt.
Yep.
These are two things, and I'll I'll go ahead and tell a story. As you know, I was a professional disc jockey for many years, as you know, and I um, I was hired to work in this military club, and I knew the guy who was running the whole club system, and he told me, like, look, this is what's going on in this club. Go straighten it out, because he knew what I could do, and he had seen me do a lot of private parties at in other times. So went up, and he said, I'm going to call the club manager. I'm telling him you're coming. I said, but don't you work for me. You don't work for him. But, okay. So I sat down with the club manager and I said, okay, here's the deal. It's a military club. I want you to know I'm not going to play any hardcore rap. I'll play hip hop. I'll play fun music, but I'm not going to play any hardcore stuff. And he got really like, oh my God, that's what works in this club. And I said, in the last 2 years, in this club, you've had half a dozen bar fights, you've had 2 riots, and you've had a murder in
Okay,
your club. And now you take people who come here and they come from angry backgrounds. You give them alcohol, and you play angry music. What do you think is going to happen?
sure.
So I changed the format. I played really good hip hop. I mean, good dance music. I played rock and roll. I played reggae. We lost part of the crowd. A whole different crowd came in because of the reggae, and the crowd that we lost came back. And I worked in that club for several years. We never had a problem. And it's because I understood energy. I understood how to manipulate energy with music.
Yeah.
And it was something that I learned early in my career of how to do that. And so I have kind of a weird career. I was working as a counselor and teacher during the day and working as a disc jockey at night, and I slept someplace in between. And but it's because I understood energy. I understood music was an energy. I understood how to use that energy for people to have fun, because this is life. We're meant to have fun. We're not, we live on a dynamic planet. You have stuff that happens, hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes and tidal waves and big storms and nasty things. These happen. What makes life good or bad is how other people behave with each other, So without an energy that is positive and uplifting, read books that lift you up, read books
Yep.
that teach you things. You know, I tend to listen to a lot of jazz without lyrics. I don't watch TV anymore. I really kind of just don't care about a story that somebody else wrote for my entertainment. I don't know. I just kind of
Well,
quit
that's
doing that.
nothing but mindless distractionary pablum in most cases. There's always exceptions, we know that, but
Well, there's always exceptions, and there's good stories that have good values and things like that. Absolutely. I'm just saying that if for the people who want to have a good life, if you want to enjoy your life, surround yourself with energies that are enjoyable, that are positive.
yep.
If
And
you can, it goes back to impress the good stuff so you can express the good stuff.
there you go. What you impress, you express. And to wrap up this wonderful conversation that we've had, Bud, um, I would like to offer a bit of an opportunity. It might be a challenge for some, but this is what I offer as an idea for you to do today and tomorrow and maybe every day. Come up with 3 people who are in your world, in your life, whether they are family near you or someone you know online in another country or somebody at your workplace, whatever. 3 people a day, and express some form of gratitude, thankfulness for them to them. It can be very small. As Mother Teresa
Oh,
said, we can do no great things. We can only do small things with great love. See what happens if you
mhm.
can find 3 people a day and express some form of thankfulness. For example, you know, for what it's worth, I wanted to thank you for the smile that I always receive from you every morning when I come into work. That is meaningful to me. And I just wanted to
Right.
make sure you knew that I really appreciate that.
And that person
You are
receiving
gonna,
that, you make
yeah,
it weak
yeah,
because you
just what Bob
validated
said.
their existence on the planet.
Yeah, you
And
are
so
going to
here's
do a major instant elevation of their
mm,
frequency. And guess what's going to happen when
it,
you have helped to set that person off on a far higher frequency? Guess what they're going to go do?
it radiates out.
They're going to radiate it out and boop, 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 boop,
And,
boop, boop,
and
like
so
stars
and
in the sky.
during this time that we're in right now, it is vitally important to do that. Because here's another one. Where attention goes, energy flows. It's an old saying.
And where energy flows, that thing grows.
That thing grows and it doesn't discern.
Yeah.
If you want to be something beautiful, then put out something beautiful.
Yeah.
And one of the things, a practice that I do now, I get out of bed in the morning and I'm looking right out of the window into our backyard, right into the forest. And every day I get up, I look at those beautiful hapu ferns and those ahia trees, and I just go, oh my God, I am so blessed to live here. I'm so blessed to have grown up in Hawaii. I'm so blessed that I resonate with the vibe of this forest and where I am and the people
Yeah.
who are here. And I thank everything holy
Yeah.
for living here.
And that sentiment,
I do that.
that energy mass within you is what I would call exactly gratitude. And because, I'm sort of a word, I like to make exact, thankfulness is taking that and expressing it to a recipient, which is why
Mm,
I like to use the word thankfulness. So let that gratitude arise within you for whatever it is you're thankful for. Thank God, thank family, thank
thank
nature,
them all.
thank
Yes,
your friends, thank everyone. And again, please don't think that something is too small or doesn't matter. Everything matters, everything's connected, and everything will have an impact. And if you can do, if try to do 3 a day, maybe you can only do 2, maybe some days you do 4,
even
but
one.
just send it to somebody directly, face to face, or in a message. You will automatically shift that person's frequency and
And
help
if
to have a positive impact.
absolutely, and if you can't do that verbally, at least express it in your heart at a
Right,
minimum.
right.
And I would add to that, um, I wake up and like I said, I have this feeling of gratitude. Even waking up, I'm grateful for, and uh, I find that I think of 3 things that I'm grateful for. Just things, because it keeps me in that vibration, that frequency. So that's why I wanted to talk about the power of gratitude, because I think it is a very, very powerful uh, aspect of our humanity, and it is an aspect of humanity. It comes out of a place of love, it comes out of a place of appreciation, and it comes out of a place of stepping into the flow of God's energy. And
So we'll leave it there
we'll
for
leave
our
it there.
viewers. And I thank you, Brother Bob, for gracing this platform again with your wisdom and your loving presence and your brotherhood, all of which I am thankful for. I'm very thankful for you, for who you are, and for what you perpetually offer of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my friend. Aloha.
Aloha.